Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining me on my Facebook Live. I'm just double checking to make sure that I have gone live, and I have gone live. So good to see everybody. Today is Thursday, December 21st. Oh my goodness, Christmas is just a few days away. Are you guys ready? The other thing about today is, did you know that today is the first day of winter? I don't know if you've noticed or not, but boy, the day is short. It got light later, so it stayed dark this morning a lot longer, and it gets dark a lot sooner. So now that we're at the shortest day of the year, we should start growing. Hold on a second. My mom. I'm going to introduce my mom to you because she's listening to me on her phone over there. But my mom is visiting from Independence, Kansas, and she's here to share the holidays with us. And normally she is watching, obviously, and I'm always saying, "Hi, Mom. Glad you could join us." And this time she's actually joining us live. So I'm really happy to have her here. And she told me that she turned her phone down, but she really didn't. So she got busted. Anyway, happy to have you here, Mom. But we were talking about the shortest day. It's going forward now, each of our days are going to get longer and longer. So I'm looking forward to those days when we wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock, and because that's how early I get up to go to my corporate job, or earlier, and it's daylight, because gosh, it's hard getting out of bed when it's dark. Anyway, welcome. Today is our last session for the Magical Meadow bundle. This is class number 3 on that. I'm excited to share those cards with you. But before I actually get into those cards, there's other things that I want to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and change up my screen just a little bit. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Very good. And I'm going to bring back in the catalogs that are coming in January. So we've got the new mini catalog that starts in January, and the celebration that starts January 4th. I don't want to rush the old catalog away, but I am giving you a few little snippets as to what are in these new catalogs, and I thought it would be so fun to be able to show you that in the new mini catalog, we have a stamp bundle called Trusty Tools. So you have your Trusty Tool stamps and hammer, wrench, paintbrush. It's sentiments that talk about, you know, Dad, you're the most awesome, happy Father's Day. But then you've got dies that go along with this. So there's so many things you can create, and I'm really excited. I actually want to plan to utilize this bundle in one of my upcoming to-go classes. But what's even more fun is from January the 4th to February the 29th. We are having Celebration. And with Celebration, when you place a certain level order, $50 order, $100 order, you get to select free product from the Celebration flyer. And again, I can't open either of the catalogs to show you yet, but I can show you things that are in the catalog. And one of the things that's in the Celebration flyer is paper that goes with the Trusty Tools bundle. And I wanted to show you something as well that makes this so fun. Is I'll show you the paper. You've got your various tools that you're utilizing. We've got plat or squares on the back, screwdrivers, just some gray on the back. This one's it looks like hammers, and then you've got the back as well. Everything that's kind of more geared towards the guys in your life or the handyman, whether they're men or women. This looks like a ruler. And then you've got some polka dots, and you've got more tools. Well, the tools are what got me excited, because these dies actually line up with the tools. So let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. So for example, this is a hammer die. And if you place it over the hammer, it will cut out the hammer for us. We have a wrench. Is the wrench on this one I think there's a wrench on this one. It will cut out the wrench on the paper. So fun. Let me see if I can find something else. I was playing with this earlier. The paintbrush. Is the paintbrush on this one? Nope, the paintbrush is on this one. But as you can see, it cuts out the paintbrush. So you can stamp and cut, or you can cut right out of your designer series paper and utilize it to build your cards. So I'm really, really excited to play with that. I don't even have it, it's brand new. I don't even have it set up for myself yet, but I wanted to be able to share something from the new catalog and celebrations. So when you place an order in the new catalog, you can actually pick the designer series paper for free. That's fun. So let me move this out of the way. I'm not going to spend too much more time on this. I just wanted to give you a little quick sneak peek. And then of course I'm utilizing my new glass mat. I really love this new glass mat. And if you remember from me sharing last week, the glass mat is actually free when you become a demonstrator in those 2 weeks or 2 months between January 4th and February 29th. So you actually, you paid $99 to be a demonstrator. You get $129 worth of product of your choice, and you're going to get the glass mat for free. You get the glass mat, you get the tray that you can sit on your mat so it doesn't slide. We can put Stampin' Dots in it, or it can hold my ink pads, or I can dump out some sequins or whatever I'm using, and it's a fun little tray that doesn't slide around. Additionally, and I actually have it out here, it comes with a cloth that you can utilize. So when your mat gets dirty, you can just clean off your cloth, or you use your cloth to clean off your glass mat. So I'm keeping it with my Stampin' chamois, but I'm really having fun utilizing this. And if you choose that you're not interested in a glass mat, but you are interested in becoming a demonstrator, maybe it's just for the discount. You know, that's how I did this 3 times before I decided to build a business. But if you decide you don't want the glass mat, you can select an additional $30 in free product. So I'm always, welcoming, new demonstrators to my team. So if it's something that you're interested in, let me know. I'm happy to help you out with that. And now what I want to do is I want to move into what this class is. And this is a to-go class with the Magic Meadow bundle. And I'm going to switch here just a second. Again, let me see if I can do this correctly. Am I going to stay with you? Yes. On my website, and I've shared this before, but this is the easiest way for me to do it, is to have you go to my website. And my website actually is aprildaviscreations.com. So when you go to aprildaviscreations.com, you'll be at my website, and then all you need to do is go to classes. There's to-go classes. Click on that, and then you can scroll down and you will see what the to-go class is for this week. You receive the class to go for free when you place an order of $40 or more in my online store between December 19th and December 25th, utilizing this host code. So I've got the host code listed in a couple different places. I can also put the host code up on the screen if that's easier for you to see. But when you place your order, use this host code that signals to me that you're interested in the kit for free. You will receive the 3 cards that we make, 2 of each of those cards. I provide all the card stock, the designer series paper. The only thing that I don't do is stamp or die cut anything from the bundle. So if you don't have the Magical Meadow bundle and you want to make the cards exactly the way that I'm making them, then you're going to want to get it. If you have some stamps and dies in your library that are very similar, you can utilize the kit to make cards very similar to what I've done. So you don't have to get the bundle, but if you want them to look exactly like I have them, then you're going to want to get the bundle. The other thing is if you place an order of $50 or more, I will send you with your kit a free package of embellishments. And today's embellishment is actually, I don't know if you can see this. Let me take the host code down. I've already started using these, so they're not packaged the way that you would receive them, but these are the red and green backed pearls, and I'm actually going to be using these. They're red, green, silver, and gold, and I'll send you a brand new package of those for a $50 order or more. So I'm going to stop with that, and I'm going to show you the cards that we're going to be utilizing. So give me just a second so I can get back to the right place, and let me see if I can get us there. Okay, great, we're there. All right, let me show you the 3 cards that we're going to be making tonight with the Magical Meadow bundle. This is card number 1, Winter Wishes. Then I have another card. They're all Winter Wishes cards tonight. I didn't want them necessarily to be Christmas cards, so we're making Winter Wishes cards, which are great for the winter. You know, if you've got a card that you want to send, a birthday card or whatever, you can send Winter Wishes. So these are the 3 cards that we're making tonight. And I'm going to bring this back in using the Magical Meadow bundle. So that includes not only the stamps, but also the die cuts that come with it. So you'll see that all come together as we work on this. So starting with this first card, let me pull this kit over. Give me just a second. We have a piece of basic white cardstock. I have another piece of basic white that is going to be for stamping. I have a piece of designer series paper. I have a piece that we're going to stamp the sentiment on. Oh, actually, I've got a piece that's already cut for the sentiment. So we've got some extra that we can utilize if we need it. And then in here, I have got all these little pieces that make our grid look, if you will. I'm going to hold this up a little bit more so you can see it. I'm trying to line it up in the camera correctly. But this is how we're going to get started. So the first thing that I want to do is let's just go ahead and get our stamping out of the way. So let me pull this over. And the stamping that we're going to do today is with the markers. You saw me do a little bit of this last week. But on this particular piece, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color in my berries and my green leaf. So we're going to start with our Stampin' Right markers. I always use the brush end. And I'm just going to go ahead and color on my stamp. So I'm going to get my berries colored. Like this. And let me see. Then we'll go to the green. It sounds like it's raining outside. I'm hearing rain hit my window. So kind of surprised. I wasn't expecting rain, but it sounds like that's what's happening. All right, let's get that. And then I'm going to go to Pretty Peacock. Pretty Peacock is what I'm going to utilize for my leaves. And we'll go ahead and get this colored up. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to stay out of the other color. The Moody Mauve is the color that I was using for the berries. Okay, so we've got that. And now, in order to moisten the ink, you're going to hear me because you can't see me. But in order to moisten the ink, I'm just going to blow on it, or I'm going to huff on it. Let me see if I can, I don't know if I can do this or not. Maybe not. I'm just blowing on it to moisten it. And so I'm going to go ahead and stamp this down. And now we have that. So let me go ahead and get this cleaned up on my Simply Chamois. And then while I'm still stamping, we're going to get out the cut and emboss here in just a second. But while I'm still stamping, I'm going to bring in my Moody Mauve and I'm going to stamp the Winter Wishes. Now, I know you guys will notice that I'm not using my Pearson pad, and the reason for that is I'm using rubber stamps tonight, and the rubber stamps do have a cushion, so I don't necessarily need my Pearson pad. I do that just because the photopolymer stamp better if they've got a little bit of a cushion. So that's why I don't have it here. And I do have some paper that I can be stamping off on, but I'm gonna use my glass mat, and if I happen to go off on my glass mat, I can clean it right up with the new cloth that I just showed you. So I've got my winter wishes, so now we've got our stamping done. So let's get this put away and talk about how we're gonna build the rest of the card. Well, before we do that, I'm jumping a step. Let's go ahead and get these cut out. So I'm gonna put this off to the side, put that off to the side, bring in my cut and emboss, and pull out the dies that I'm going to need. I need the berry dies. So we'll go ahead and get those cut out. I'm gonna line those up and get that done the way that I want it. I've got a piece of my tape that I'm still gonna try to reuse, but I like to hold my die in place, and then I've got my plates over here that I will bring in. And let's go ahead and get these berries or these pods cut out. So we'll get them sent through. The winter wishes, the circle that I utilized is from my Stylish Shape dies. You guys know this is one of my favorite die sets. I use it all the time, but I went ahead and cut that out. I do try to keep the to-go classes right at about an hour-ish. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't work. It depends upon how integral the card is, but in order to keep the class moving and not keep you guys here too terribly long, I try to do some of this stuff ahead of time. So now I've got these all cut. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring back in the rest of the items that we're gonna use to build this card. And I'm gonna go ahead and fold my card base and use my bone folder that I think is here. I don't know where it's at right at the moment. It's here somewhere, but let me just go ahead and use my fingers. Normally I use the bone folder. So I've got my card base. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to build the grid. And basically I've already started building the grid. I wanted to show you how I did it. What I try to do, and my glass mat is perfect for this, because we're gonna do it at an angle, I line up the top of the diamond with a grid line, and I line up the side of the diamond with a grid line. And that way I know that I get that straight. And then basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking each of these and you're going to line them up. You can utilize a ruler if you wanted to make sure that you're getting them straight, you know, exactly the right width apart, and follow the little lines on the ruler. You could do that to line this up, or you can just, you know, do it by just looking at it and making decisions that way. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to start gluing all of these down. Now, again, to save time tonight, you see how I got started. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be able to finish it up. So I'm going to pull this off to the side. There's a few pieces that I still need to get on here because you can see there's a few white spots. So I'm going to go ahead, and I've got a few little pieces that I'm going to get my silicone mat out because I'm going to be doing some gluing. That I have a few little pieces that were trimmed off from my first card that I made. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue to use those. There's no sense in having anyway. So I'll put a little bit of glue on the back of this, and I'm going to get it lined up the way that I want it. And then what I'm going to do, and you'll see this, is once these are all glued down, then I'm going to go in and I'm going to trim off all the edges. I'll get those all trimmed off, and not only am I going to get them trimmed off, but I'm going to use some of the ones that I trim off perhaps to finish filling my card in. So I've got this piece that I can put here. So let me get a little bit of glue on it. And we'll just finish this off, and then we can move forward and continue to make the card. So I've got this, and I'm just really trying to space them equal distances apart. And I just need a little piece. So let me take my snips, and I'm gonna cut off an edge here. We'll do the rest of them in a minute, but I wanna finish getting these glued. So where was my edge? It was right here. It's just a little teeny tiny area right here. So let me put just a tiny bit of glue on here. And I'll get this placed, spaced out the way that I want to get it spaced out. It doesn't have to necessarily be perfect, but we do want it to be a grid. And now what I'm going to do is, now that they've all been placed, I'm going to trim these off. So I'm going to just start on one edge, and I'm just going to cut along the edge of my white sheet of paper to get these all trimmed down. So I know I asked earlier, but is everybody ready for Christmas? I'm pretty ready, I think. The only thing is that I still have wrapping to do. I've started it, but I'm not done. So I've got some wrapping to do, and I've been shopping for the Christmas dinner that we're having here. We do Christmas with my daughter and their family on Christmas Eve. So I have a smoked turkey that we're doing. And because we're doing a roasted turkey, my mother-in-law always does roasted turkey on Christmas Day, and we go over there. We are having turkey, but the turkey that we're having is smoked turkey. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have little, I'm going to call them slider sandwiches. I know sliders are like hamburgers, but I'm going to do that and have some salads and things to go with it because we're having all the traditional fixings at my mother-in-law's. So we're going to do that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to piece this together. So there's two things you can do. I'm going to try to do this so that I'm not, I don't want to say wasting, but this particular one that I made, I glued both the designer series paper and the grid that I created to another piece of white cardstock, and then I glued that white cardstock to the card base. I'm going to try to cheat the system, so to speak. We're going to see if this works, but I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to tape these pieces together. I'm going to butt them up against each other. So if it doesn't work, I do have a piece of cardstock that we can utilize, but you know, I just thought, I'm going to try something different just so that I can show you guys that you don't have to necessarily have layers and layers of paper to make this work. So now I've got this all taped together. So for all practical purposes, it looks like it goes together. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to wrap my ribbon around it. So this is our sheer ribbon. It is silver and white. And I'm going to do the cheat where I just wrap it to the back and then I'm going to adhere it to my card base. So I'm going to cut off just enough and bring my tape back out again. And I'm going to layer the ribbon down centered over this crease or where the two, meet up. So I'm going to turn this over and fold it over, get a hold of it, fold it over, tape it down. I can get my fingers out of the way. It had an angle on it, so I might not have gotten it taped down quite as well as I wanted it to, so I'm going to try it again. Plus, I don't think I gave it enough space, but it'll still work. So now I've got this down. I'm going to pull this back up again. Make sure it's tight, centered. Pull this side down And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one down. Okay, so we have the start of it. Now the next thing to do is to take it and adhere it to my card base. So with my glue, I'm going to give it plenty enough glue, and I'm going to glue this all down. So we've got plenty of glue on here. And then I'm going to line it up edge to edge. It was cut so that it lines up edge to edge. So for all practical purposes, it looks like it is the front of the card and not necessarily a layer. So I've got all that. It's down. The next thing to do is to take my pods or my berries that I've die cut, and I'm actually going to adhere them to the back of my Winter Wishes sentiment. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right there and then center it with my Winter Wishes. And now that I've got that, I can go ahead and put some dimensionals. So let me grab my dimensionals here. Grab some dimensionals and put some dimensionals on the backs of my sentiment and my berries or pods. I call them pods. I don't know that that's what they are, but they just look too big to be berries. So you've seen me with the little berries that I've got, and they're itsy bitsy teeny weeny. So these just seem so big. So I'm just calling these pods, although I think it's fun that they're colored pods. I'm going to actually, let me see if I can get, if that's going to be too big. It might be, actually it's going to fit really good. All right, so we've got that there. All right, so now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go just a tad bit rogue on this card. Not terribly, but you know, every once in a while after I've done my creating on my cards, there's something that I want to do different. And in this particular card, I do want to do different. I want to bring out my Take Your Pick because remember, I'm using it to take off the backs of my dimensionals. So we'll go ahead and get that done quickly. And then I can just put those in my bin. And I'm going to take my Winter Wishes and I'm going to center it over the ribbon that I have down. But I'm going to take it up just a little bit. You can see that it was a little bit lower with that card. The reason I did that is because, let me see if I can find it. It was just here. I decided that I needed a ribbon. I just thought that if I put a ribbon there, it was just so pretty. This is so plain. So I'm going to add a ribbon to my card tonight, and I'm going to get out my little glue dots and put a glue dot behind this bow that I've already created, and then I can place it right at the bottom of the sentiment. And now this card is done, and look how pretty it is. So pretty and so fun. It does take a little bit of time to do the little grid work, but it's such a fun effect, and it's not hard. It just takes a little bit of time. These are 1x1 squares, by the way. So let me push this off to the side, clean up my mat here so that we can get started on card number 2. All right, sorry about that. Card number 2, we have, let me pull it over here. This is card number 2, another Winter's Wishes card. We're using Lost Lagoon for our card base. Then we've got a piece of basic white. And we've got some DSP that I have cut. And then I have another piece of DSP that I've actually embossed. We embossed it with this stripe 3D embossing folder to just give it a little bit of texture, which adds some fun to the card. And then I've got a couple of branches cut out as well. And then we're going to do some stamping to make the Winter Wishes. So let me move this stuff out of the way, and we'll start with our stamping first. And we're going to stamp Winter Wishes. So I've got this back out again. This time we're utilizing the Lost Lagoon ink. So apologies for the phone call. I don't understand, and maybe you guys might. know how to do this, but I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. And apologies too. Two things. I feel like a squirrel because different things are happening. But I'm seeing Krista, you've joined. I love that you've joined. Thank you for all of your comments. Kara, you've joined as well. Thank you guys for loving my cards so much. I love you guys. You guys are so fun, and I really appreciate the fact that you enjoy the cards as much as I do. So that I wanted to say hello to you guys, but at the same time, I wanted to know about putting my phone on Do Not Disturb, and yet somehow calls come in. How does that work? Maybe there's something that I'm not doing, but I have like this little moon shape up in my phone that says it's on Do Not Disturb. Oh well, anyway, all I had to do is hit skip, and I'll call him back. It was my son. All right, now I'm looking for my die. We are going to die cut this out of Nested Essentials. This is the smallest of the rectangles, if you want to call them rectangles. They're rounded corner rectangles. So we've got Winter Wishes stamped. Now I'm going to bring my cut and emboss back in with my plates. And I'm going to get this lined up so we can get it cut out. Krista, it's nice to know that it happens to you too. We have to figure this out. Next time we get together, we might have to get into the phone and figure out what's going on, because I just don't get it. I knew who it was, and he knows not to call me on Thursday nights between 7 and 8, but it shouldn't have even gotten through. Shouldn't have, but oh well. Anyway, we'll have to figure it out. We might have to Google it or something. All right, and it looks like, Krista, you have wrapping to do as well. Gosh, I try, but you know, it's a lot to do it all in one sitting, so I kind of spread it out. I only have a little bit more to do, so that's good. All right, now I wanted you guys to notice, because I'm actually not done with my stamping yet. I've got a little bit more stamping to do. But the way that this card is designed, you open it up and you can put your message right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take my leaf stamp that I have before I start to assemble everything. And I'm going to take this piece of basic white cardstock, move everything else out of the way, and we're going to do some generation stamping. What I mean by that is I'm going to take my leaf and I'm going to stamp it once, and it's going to get on my mat, so we're going to get to clean my mat up. I'm going to stamp it once, and then I'm going to turn it, I'm going to stamp it again. So we've got two generations, first generation and second generation stamping. So here we go. We've got a mess. So I'm going to take my cloth and clean off my glass mat. So that's good to go. Then I'm going to take my Simply Chamois and I'm going to clean off my leaves. We're good to go there. And now we're ready to start building this card. So one thing that I'm sure you noticed is the front is only a half front. So what I have to do is I have to bring out my trimmer, and I'm going to cut 2 inches off of the front of the card. So I'm going to bring it up to 2. You can see where my score line is, or hopefully you can see where my score line is. So I'm going to set this up, and it might be easier if I do it from down here. The good news is you can start at the top or you can start at the bottom. So I'm going to measure to my 2-inch line. I've got my cutting blade here. I'm going to take my cutting blade and I'm basically going to cut up to this line, which is the 7-inch line. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to stop. So it should, stopped a little bit too soon, got a little bit more to go. It's at the line, and then I can turn it and I can put the line right in my trimmer. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to cut up to where I cut the first line. And I think I'm not meeting exactly, but I'm very, very close. Oh, I did beat it exactly. All right, so let's move this out of the way so that I can show you how this is going to work. Then we're just going to, let me see, this is the front of my card. It's going to fold this way. If you happen to have, I'm looking for my bone folder. I thought my bone folder was in here. I probably pulled it out. It's in front of me somewhere. But basically what you can do is when you have issues with your blade, and it could be because the blade is starting to get dull, which mine probably is, then what you can do is you can take your bone folder and run over the top of where it looks rough, and that will help to smooth it out. So now what I'm going to do is I can take this piece of designer series paper that was that was embossed, and I'm going to adhere it edge to edge. So it's adhered edge to edge on the front of the card. So we'll get that part of it done. So let me get this down. Is your husband watching as well? You got your newest order. Yes. I love the designer series paper and the fact that there's two sides. The problem is if both sides are your favorite, then you have to decide which side you're going to use. So that's fun. I love the fact that your husband supports you. Mine does too. It makes it more fun. Okay, so let me get this centered the way that I want it, from edge to top to bottom, at least this piece. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start building the inside. So the inside is our piece of white cardstock. So when we get ready, it'll look like this. I'm going to take the 3 pieces that I cut, and basically they're going to be centered. Well, I say centered with the top. Gosh, second call. I don't know what's going on. Obviously, my do not disturb is not working tonight. All right, so let me show you. I'm going to take this one, and let me see, which way do I want it to go? Maybe I want it to go this way. I'm going to give it just a little bit of a border at the top and on the side, and I want those to pretty much be the same. With that border, I'm going to move it just a little bit. Now I'm going to take the second one, and I'm going to do the same thing in the other corner. So I'm not going to do it side by side yet, because I want to be able to center the third one right in the middle. So I'm going to do the same thing to this one, and I'm going to give it a little bit of an edge on each, the top, the side and the top. I want to make sure I come up just a little bit. I want it to be fairly similar to the one that I just did. And now this one I can center in the middle, and it will be centered. So let's go ahead and get that one centered. And let's see, a little bit more space on each side, but we've got that centered. Now this part's done. We're going to go ahead and we're going to adhere it to the inside of the card. And then of course your message or an additional sentiment will go on that lower corner. So let's go ahead and get this adhered. So Karen, Christy, you guys live in Spring Hill. Is it raining outside? Am I hearing rain? I feel like something's hitting my window, but I didn't know that it was going to rain, so I'm kind of surprised. All right, there you go. We're almost there. Now, if I close this up, we're going to go ahead. Oh, you guys, I did it. This is a perfect opportunity for me to show you how to fix something if you did it wrong. And Krista, I think we've done this with you before too. So give me 1 second. I'm going to step away for 2 secs. Apparently, yes, it's raining, or I'm grabbing my favorite product. And I don't know that I've ever used this before, online before, or, on a Facebook Live before. But this is called Undo. It's a remover, and this is an amazing product. Oh, it's drizzling. Thank you, Kara. What I did is I put this down before I put my ribbon on. I got excited and I got this put down before I actually put my ribbon on. So now what I want to do, because I don't want to ruin my card, I don't want to lose my card, I don't want to have to start over, I use this Undo. It's one of my favorite products. You can get it on Amazon, but basically it just drips and it basically undoes what you did. So this is fun. And honestly, I was hoping I get a chance to show you guys how to do this at some point in time. If you haven't seen it, Undo and I are good friends. Krista, Undo is my best friend for sure. But look how easily that came off. I'm gonna save this card. How many times before Undo came into our lives did we have to toss the card? Not anymore. So I'm gonna pull my ribbon out. I'm using the same ribbon that I used before. I'm gonna use the same technique that I used before. Give myself a little bit of space to be able to tape it down. I've got my snips that are specific for my ribbon. Now what I can do is I can flip this over and fold down this side. Let me get it lined up. Flip it over, and I'm going to tape it down. Get some tape here. Get this side taped down. And then make sure I'm getting it centered the way that I want it. It looks good. You guys, don't tell anybody. Nobody will ever know that this happened and I messed up and I had to use my Undo. Nobody will ever know. All right, so now I'm going to put more glue back on just so that I can get it glued back down again. And we can move forward. All right, hopefully I got enough glue on there. And again, I'm just going to center it top to bottom, and then edge to edge. We'll go edge to edge. There we go. See, you can't even tell. You can't even tell. I love this stuff. All right, got it down. Now we've got our winter wishes, and before I put the winter wishes down, I am actually going to tuck my branches in, but I have to be careful where I tuck my branches in because I want to make sure that I get them tucked in enough that they don't stick off the edge of my card. So I'm basically going to put just like a little thumbprint there so I know where, and see now I can't see it, where I want to glue this branch. So I'm going to glue this one down over here. That looks good. Put it down. I'm not adhering it yet. That one's there. Maybe twist it up just a little bit. And then I'll do the same thing with this branch on this side. So we're going to lay it down, make sure it's centered about where I want it. So I could have probably, even if I didn't put my little thumbprint there, I was looking to see those two little sprigs coming out there. So I want to put the glue below those little sprigs, and I'll just glue this down. Get that glued down. And okay, we've got that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gluing everything down now. So on the, and I'm going to bring my silicone mat in again, just because I am working with the glue. I'm just going to do little dots on the back of my branches, or these little sprigs. So just little bitty dots, that's all you need. It doesn't take much glue at all. I'll do the same thing on this side. More on this side, and then of course on the tag itself I'm going to give it a bit more glue. So make sure I've got plenty enough glue there. And now, especially since it's going down on the ribbon, I'm going to bring this back in, and we're going to center this over the ribbon or close thereof and place that down. And then we'll press this. Give it a chance to set. A lot of times while I'm waiting for things to glue, I'll take a block and put the block over the top of it just to help it. Let's see, make sure I'm straight. I want to be straight. And now the last thing we're going to do, this card is pretty much done with the exception of the pearls that I'm going to use. So I'm going to pull out those red and green adhesive back pearls. I'm going to try my putty end. If not, I'm going to go to my pointy end, but I'm going to use the green pearls on my sentiment. So I'm going to place those on the corners of my sentiment. And the putty end is so cool. It helps you pick up those little pearls and place them where you want to place them. And then I'm going to use the silver ones, and I'm just going to place them on my, I'm still going in kind of like a triangle fashion, but I'm going to do them on my DSP. So let me see my little triangle here. So those are done, and we have card number 2. Look how pretty it is. So pretty. All right, card number 2. Let's bring in card number 3. This is card number 3. This card is so easy to do, but I want to show you something with this DSP that we've got. So this is the DSP. It's called Winter Meadow that I've been utilizing throughout this entire series. I've been using the Winter Meadow paper. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you how pretty this paper is. And you can see the deer on both ends. So when you're planning to utilize this paper, this is a 12 by 12. You need at least a 4, depending upon what you're doing, but typically your layer on your card base would be 4 inches. So you would do, thank you, Kara, I think so too. You would cut 4 and 4. And you're going to have 3. And then basically what you can do is, you know, this centerpiece, you can have as much or as little as you want. So maybe you have 5 1/4, so it's 4 by 5 1/4, and you would just then measure up from the ends of the paper so that you are able to keep the deer. So that's exactly what I've done with this card. And if I bring the kit in, we're using the Pebbled Path cardstock that goes so well with this. Here's my deer that I cut. It's probably 4 by 5 1/4. And then I've got a piece of Lost Lagoon that we're going to utilize for the little banner that we're going to put our little circle die on. I actually cut this circle out of the deckled circle dies. It's probably maybe the 3rd or 4th largest one. I just wanted to make sure that it fit my winter wishes well. So I cut the circle out of the deckled circle dies, and then I have more berries and leaves. These are what I call berries. Remember, I was calling those other ones pods. I think I called them pods because they're so big, but these are berries, and I need at least 3, 6. I think I've got enough. All right, so let's put these off to the side for just a second. I'm going to do my stamping first. So we're going to bring back in our winter wishes again with the Lost Lagoon ink. So let's go ahead and open that up. Lost Lagoon, Winter Wishes. I'm going to center this as best I can. Right about here. Good job. Let's clean this off. Close this up. And the next thing we need to do is we need to cut our, I'm going to call it a banner. And the banner is out of the Nested Essentials. Again, remember we used the Nested Essentials for the sentiment for the other card. Now we're going to use this larger banner. So let me pull this larger banner out. And I'm going to bring my cut and emboss back in again. And I'm just going to go ahead and line this up. Let's see. I don't know where my tape went. I don't want it to move. So I'm going to take another piece of tape just to hold this down. I don't need to center it in the center of my cardstock. I can use the rest of that cardstock for something else. But let's go ahead and get this in here and run it through quick. Let's see. I want to make sure it's under the plate though. There we go. So we'll run this through. Get these out of the way. Now we have our banner that I'm going to open up. There we go. Now we've got it. Now, a couple of things. This particular banner is going to be a little bit shorter, and I'll do another technique that I'll show you if we wanted it to be a little bit longer. Basically, we would have not cut this here. We would have extended it out, and I'll have to show you on it. I meant to do that tonight, and in fact, you know what? Is this big enough? Barely big enough. Barely big enough. But I can show you at least how it works. So, because it is a fun technique, and I honestly meant to do that, and I just totally forgot. So when you are lining up your die on this, you want, if we want it to be longer, I'm going to cut part of it and not all of it. So that means that you have to have some of it off of the plate. I hope that makes sense. So let's go ahead and get this, let's get it lined up on the paper first. So I've got my tape here. I'm going to line it up on the paper. Now, obviously I need this end to cut. It's this end that I want to extend out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have part of my die off of the plates so that when I run this through, because it's not on the plate, it's not going to cut. So let's go ahead and run this through the first time, and I'll show you what it looks like. We may have done this before, I don't remember, but I love this technique, so I wanted to show it to you again. So now if you look at this, and obviously it's not as wide as this one is, but only part of it is cut. Only part of it. I haven't cut the end of it. So now what I can do is I can take and I can line this up into the, I'm gonna call them ridges, stitches that are already here, and I can make it as long as I want. So I'm gonna line it up into the stitches. Let me get that lined up. You can feel the stitches. And once I get it lined up into the stitches, then we're going to do the exact same thing again. And hold on a second. Okay, got it. We're going to do that same thing again, only this time we're going to leave this end off of the edge of the, because we don't want it to cut, right? We don't want this piece to cut. We only want it to cut from here now. So you can see where I've stopped cutting with my die. And I'm going to crank this through. Pull it out. Oh, it fell out. And if I take this off, hold on a second, getting this tape off. This one is longer than this one. Do you see how I did that? I'm actually going to use this one tonight just because this one wasn't wide enough for me, but that's how you do it. So with one die, I was able to make my banner much longer just by making sure that I had my dies hanging off the edge of my plate so it wouldn't cut. All right, so let's go ahead and put this off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and build my card with the shorter one tonight, and we're gonna start building the card. So I'm gonna fold this in half again. Never did find my bold folder. I don't know what happened to it. I only have several of them, so it's kind of weird that it disappeared. But let's go ahead, and the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna adhere our DSP to our card. So let's get some glue on the back of this. Thanks, Kara. Wasn't that fun? Suddenly you can do so many more things with your dies. I do it a lot of times when I have a die that I want to cut down a sentiment, and my sentiment is shorter, and my die is longer, you can do the same thing. You can make your die longer, or you can, when you're cutting it out, you can have the other effect, meaning I can do it shorter as well. You just have to line it back up again once you've taken it off of the plates. All right, now we're going to utilize this one. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to not center it, but I'm going to place it at the top of my card. I don't want to cover up my deer, so I want to make sure that I have it off to the side. It sounds like my dog is trying to break into my room. She's knocking on the door. I think she wants to know what's going on in here. She sees Grandma. My mom's here, and my mom is right in front of the door, so she can see my mom. And yeah, I see you, Mom, talking to her. It's like, stop doing that, Harper. Stop doing that. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take my winter wishes, and I'm going to put it here, but I'm going to work my leaves in. And one of the things that I'm going to do with these leaves, because they just looked a little plain to me, just a little plain, I have my daubers that I utilize for my various colors. We've probably done this before, but I'm going to pull out my dauber that is Lost Lagoon. So I'm going to take my dauber and I'm going to bring out my Lost Lagoon ink, which is here somewhere. Move this off to the side. And I'm going to dip my dauber in there, and then I'll just tap it off just a little bit. And again, my glass mat is perfect for this. And then I can start to do a little bit of edging with my dauber to give my leaves a little bit of a highlight. So I'm going to do that. And the other nice part about it is because it is on my glass mat, I can actually pick up the ink from my glass mat and do more inking on my leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink up 3 of these. Dipping a little bit there. I just don't want to come across too heavy, so I always tap off a little bit and then I can come back in, because it's easier to add more ink. It's harder to take away ink. So I'll pick up that ink again that we have there, and I'll finish inking this leaf. But can you guys see? Hopefully you can see just the additional dimension. I'll bring it up higher so you guys can see it, because I know it's a little bit away from the camera, so it's maybe a little bit harder to see that detail. I think you guys can actually see more than I can see when I'm doing this for you guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and let's clean this up before we have a mess. Here's my little rag that I'm gonna clean that up with, and I'm just gonna put these leaves on top of this piece of white paper and bring it up a little bit closer just in case you couldn't see that. But can you see? Let me see, move it this way, maybe a little bit. Can you see the edging on the leaves? It just adds a little bit of dimension to them. So let's go ahead and close this up. And I've got my berries here. I've got my winter wishes. I want to tuck my leaves into my winter wishes. So I need to see where I want to go with this. This particular leaf, I'm actually going to bring down a little bit lower. Because I'm using a shorter banner. And actually, what's easiest for me is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here. So I'm putting it on my leaf itself. Then I'll bring my circle back in and line that up the way that I want to line up, and my leaf is in the right place. I'm going to do the same thing with these 2 leaves. I'm going to put another one up here, I think, and this last one I'll pull off and put maybe right here thereof. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to get at least the first one down, and then I'll work on the second one. So I'm just going to tap some of the glue down. I am going to put dimensionals behind this, so I don't really want to glue my circle down completely. But I'm going to go ahead and get that lined up where I want it to go. I want it to go onto my DSP over here. And then this last one is just going to go right here. And I think I can go ahead and just eye it. All right. So we'll put it right here. Maybe tuck it up underneath that leaf. All right, so now I'm waiting for these to dry. I'm going to bring out my dimensionals. What is that? That's craziness. I don't know what's happening. Somebody's calling, but I can't stop it. I hope it's not messing you guys up. I'm gonna pretend like it's not happening because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. Can you guys hear that? Is it messing things up? Hopefully it will stop. All right. I don't know what that is. Okay. Let's go ahead and we'll get our dimensionals on. I'm going to use little dimensionals for, I think it's an alarm. I'm glad you're still there, Krista. I'm sorry if that's, I don't know why that's going off, but we'll just pretend like it's not happening. Good, Kara, thank you. Can you guys hear it? All right, here's my little dimensionals. Here we go. All right, we're almost done, but it's not gonna stop. It doesn't sound like it. Okay, I'm gonna put some dimensionals behind the leaves. So we've got that done. Now we'll go ahead and place our Winter Wishes sentiment down on the card front. Let's get these off. I'm pulling these off instead of using my take your pick this time. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this centered the way that I want it. Okay, this is good. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to put some little dots down here for our berries. So we're gonna go ahead and get our berries placed. Oh my gosh, I'm afraid to do anything. I don't know how to, I think it's on my phone and I don't know how to fix it without losing you guys. So we're just going to, we're just going to work through this alarm that's going off. Crazy. All right. So let me get my berries down. These are in Moody Mauve. And one more, I need to turn it the right way. Oops, that's the wrong way. I need to turn it over so I can get it down right. You think it'd get tired. It sounds like you're making me laugh, Krista. It does sound like a spaceship. It does sound like a spaceship. All right, then. Well, we did get through card number 3. You got me giggling now, but look how pretty that is. So let's go ahead and recap what we've done tonight before I'm taken up in the spaceship. We've got these cards. We have the Winter Wishes. Well, they're all Winter Wishes, I guess I should say. And then these cards. Oh, so pretty. Let me come back to you guys. Let me see if I can do this and come back to you guys. There we go. Whoops. Let's do it this way. There we go. So I'm back. So, this is the last in the series of this particular bundle, but I'll have a new bundle for us to look at next week that I'm excited to share. So again, thank you for joining me. Remember, it's a to-go class. If you are interested, you can go out to my website and you can see how to place your order and what host code to use. I'll pull that back up here really quickly. But more than anything, I just want to thank you guys for joining me tonight and wish you a Merry, Merry Christmas. Enjoy your time with your friends and your family. And I will see you guys on the other side of Christmas. So thank you again for joining me. Thank you for ignoring the spaceship noises. I'll try to get that figured out. There's always something, right? Anyway, thanks so much, guys. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.